start off with quarterbacks here. Jimmy, why don't you lead the way?
So quarterback for me, this is one that I'm, still struggling with a little bit. I'm going to play Kyler Murray. I've just decided that I'm going to do that every single week. And, whatever. He is the Lamar Jackson fantasy producer of 2020, right? Lamar was that guy last year. Now it's Kyler. He's going to be my expensive guy. Cam Newton, I'm going to have probably 30 to 40% exposure to versus the Raiders. I know that, the Raiders look like they were great. They played a great game against the Saints. But, new alarm Drew Brees is kind of starting to show up, kind of like Peyton Manning's last year where he just couldn't throw the ball. And I think we kind of know now why, Michael Thomas runs slants all the time. But yeah, so Cam Newton, and then kind of one of my cheaper guys dropping down a little bit. All indications are that he is going to start. And I'm just reading some news right now that Anthony Lynn confirmed today that he is going to start again, and that's Justin Herbert. $5,900. He can run. He's extremely proficient at throwing the ball. Hit across the board. The Chargers receivers have some of the top matchups this week. So those are going to be my three guys right now. Kyler Murray, Cam Newton, Justin Herbert. I'm going to have some more exposure to some other guys, but right now that's kind of it. Yeah, that's it for me.
All right.
I know you have a pretty good pulse, more than Joe and I on kind of the chalk report. What's it saying for Russ and Dak? Because I'm just kind of curious at that.
So, right now the projected highest owned quarterback is going to be Kyler Murray, and that's at 20% only.
Okay.
Russ is looking at about 16, and Dak is looking anywhere about 13 to 15.
Wow, interesting. Okay, I thought they'd be higher.
Yeah, this is again, it's Thursday, right? So Thursday, Friday, final practice reports haven't come out yet.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens, but I think that they'll end up being chalkier, especially depending on, I think a lot of like single entry and 3-max tournaments that we play, people are just going to almost play it like a cash game, I think, in some of the bigger tournaments and just say, look, like Dak scored, 45 points last week. They're going to look at the same chalk reports we're looking at, most people are, and go, oh, he's only going to be 16%. This happens a lot in golf. Is like, oh, this guy's only going to be super low owned, or, oh, he's not going to be that chalky. And then come Sunday when everything locks, he's like 28% owned because like everyone thought it was like a sneaky,
right.
like
Yeah,
kind of a play, right? So that's kind of where we are with chalk with quarterbacks.
Okay.
Nothing crazy other than that. Like you have to go all the way down to like Cam and Josh Allen at 10 and 11%.
Okay.
Give me all of those guys at that price. So
yeah. Okay.
Vinny, what do you think was your guys this week?
I like Kyler a lot. I was heading into this looking to fade Russ and Dak, and it's not obviously because they don't have big game potential. I thought they'd be pretty chalky. It seems like everybody I listen to and see wants to get a piece of those two, but I don't know, man. I think there's other ways that those teams can score and like control the game with their running backs and things that I'm just not going to pay up. Like it's just not really what I do at quarterback. So I'm probably fading those two. I do like and have interest in Cam. I do like Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan at home. He's been going pretty scorched earth so far. I honestly don't even really mind if Julio's in or out, which we'll get to receivers and talk about that. But I have some interest in Matt Ryan. But the two guys that I'm really on the fence about and I want to pull the trigger on, but I'm very nervous on doing it and getting contrarian is going simply for game flow. And I'm looking at Stafford if Galladay is back. And I'm looking at Mitch I think those two games are prime.
Risky?
I think those two games are prime shootout games for a pay down quarterbacks that are going to have to throw.
Vinny, I played Mitch Trubisky in week 1. It did not go well for me. So anytime that Mitch Trubisky is going to potentially have to throw the ball like 50 times, like I might just take the other quarterback.
What do you mean? Trubisky went for almost 25 points in week 1.
I think that game flow is going to be a little different in that game. I think Chicago, their best bet is going to try to slow that game down. And when we get to running backs, that's where I'm at there.
I get that, but Atlanta,
Chicago's defense is still legit.
Is it?
I don't.
They're grading
know
out really well still, man. I mean, they're not the 2 years ago Bears that were just shutting down every team that's scoring 20 points per fantasy game. Obviously,
I just don't think Atlanta.
They're a lot stronger.
I just don't think Atlanta has a choice. They signed Gurley, and it just that hasn't worked either.
No, they've been giving them the ball over 17 times a game. You guys just can't move.
They have, but like Matt Ryan has gone for 29, 30 points in each game. Like they are a throwing team. Like they are going to want to throw on the fast track at home. Like their only shot is scoring points because their defense is absolutely trash. And so that's my only thought on Trubisky is, again, if this guy's going to throw it 40, 45 times, I mean, I'll pair him with Allen Robinson and just go in the opposite direction than most. Like if people are going to play Ridley and get all those points and Matt Ryan, then why not take just the opposite side of that for half the price, Sure. So that was my thought. And then same thing with Stafford. I need Galladay in to pull the trigger on that, but it's the same thing. If Kyler's going to be running absolutely wild and going nuts, like Stafford's going to be chucking it.
Right. So
that's my
Galladay has been a limited participant Wednesday and Thursday, which is more than he's been all year. I think he's playing on Sunday. I think it's going to take a setback like before the game or something, right?
Yeah.
I think Stafford's just been missing passes, which is totally unlike Stafford. And it might be just because he only has Marvin Jones to throw to.
Yeah, he's got one receiver.
The Lions' offensive line has actually been grading as one of the top offensive lines in pass protection this season, and that might blow you away because Stafford's just been missing passes. But I'm really big on Stafford this week. I think Arizona's defense is suspect. Their offense is legit, but I think Stafford can have one of those weeks this week against Arizona and could be playing from behind as well. If he has Galladay and Jones in there with Hawkinson, I can see Stafford having a huge game.
Yeah. So again, I'm definitely not lock button. I don't feel great about both of those plays. And what scares me even more is I need to feel really good because Galladay, they have the late game. So we might not hear of his status until like noon, right? So
yeah, but this week is a week where you're not going to get trapped. You can late swap. There's 5 late games this week. So it's not like the past couple weeks. There's just been 3, right? There's 5 late games and honestly pretty fantasy relevant late games.
Right.
So I think you'll be okay, especially if you want to late swap onto somebody else. He's in a range where there's a lot of attractive players there.
Yeah. So, 59.
Yeah. Joey, who do you got for your QBs
so Stafford's one of my top guys this week. Banking on Galladay playing. What's Stafford at? 64, I believe. 6,300. I mean, I don't like paying up for quarterback. He kind of fits the bill for everything. Arizona's defense gives up a lot. Stafford's getting protected. He's not getting hit a lot. And it's Matt Stafford. He's not going to stay off forever. The guy's going to start hitting passes here. My second guy is Jared Goff, going all the way down to 5,700. I know it's the Bills defense, but I just think these are two really good teams.
Dude, you're might have a mark.
He's been going off, man. That offense looks good. They do look like they were 2 years ago. I really like the Goff Robert Woods stack this week. Robert Woods going back to Buffalo, and Robert Woods is just one of those guys that feel like he's always going to hit the floor. Those are my 2 main guys. Then I'm kind of spreading out everywhere else. I do like Big Ben this week with the Steelers against Houston.
I know.
He's a guy I feel like I need to roster more. And another guy is Tannehill against Minnesota. Tannehill's still priced super low. Minnesota's terrible, and the only scary part about Tannehill is do they give the ball to Derrick Henry 40 times, and does Derrick Henry get 3 or 4 touchdowns, right? That's the scary part about Tannehill, but I feel like I need to roster more Ben. I need to roster more Tannehill, but my top 2 guys are Stafford and Goff as of right now.
Okay.
I like Ben. I had Ben on my sheet here, and I was just unsure of it because I'm just afraid that they can – I thought like they could just hand the ball to Connor 30 times and take care of business. But even in those games, Ben still throws the ball 35, 40 times.
Yeah,
like
he has over 35 attempts in every game.
So I like that.
Yeah. So let's.
Is there anybody else sneaky or anybody else that like you just are gonna throw out there as like a 1% owned like?
Yeah, I think Burrow.
Out?
I think Burrow, Cincinnati. But he passed the ball over 60 times last week. Philadelphia's only strength is their defensive line and their run game. I don't think they're running the ball at all. They're going to get behind early. This is going to be the week everyone in the NFC East goes like, oh, Philly's the real deal, even though they're not. But I think that Burrow can potentially throw the ball over 50 times, and I'm stacking him with Boyd, which has run the second most routes of any receiver in the NFL so far. Even though he's not getting the targets, so I think that's my sneaky, like 1% type stack.
I think honestly, Joey, if you're going to play that, you might as well just double stack with Boyd and AJ Green.
Right.
AJ Green leads the league in air yards, which if anybody doesn't know what air yards are, who's like listening, that means he's ran the most routes and had the ball thrown to him. He hasn't caught it, right? But he's been targeted when the ball has gone.
It's a huge setup for fantasy, man.
I mean, look, the usage is there. The targets are there for AJ Green.
Right.
Boyd has undoubtedly been producing more because a lot of those passes aren't as long, but they're still taking deep shots to AJ Green. Yeah. Like, we got to remember, like, the first 2 weeks, this is a brand new quarterback who didn't get to play any actual live games with these guys, and Burrow's looked pretty good. So, like, I actually like that quite a bit, and then then it's pretty easy to run it back with Miles Sanders on the other side. You get yourself a nice little game stack.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're kind of talking Burrow. I mentioned this guy on our little group text earlier today. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't think I have the balls to do it, but if I'm not going Trubisky, like I want one of those 1%ers this week that has game flow, like upside is the Eagles have to win this game. I would not be afraid to go to Wentz. And I would just play him with, honestly, Ertz and Goddard. I would just double tight end it, which would be super contrarian. And
yeah, it will
this is a team, or the Bengals got shredded by the Browns on Thursday night. Like ground, air, they did whatever they wanted. Like, I know the Eagles aren't this bad. Like, they're going to get right. And if they want any shot this year, like they have to get it going.
So here's the big thing. So the Bengals, 2 interior defensive linemen, we got Geno Atkins and Mike Daniels. They missed last week, and they still haven't practiced this week.
Yeah,
they are veterans, so we got to see what their practice participation is tomorrow on Friday. But if Atkins and Daniels are out again, Philly could go off this week, especially on the ground.
And I think, and we'll get to it. Like, I love Miles Sanders. My guess is he's going to be huge, mega chalk. That's why I'm kind of thinking like that leverage play of like, you know what, well, everyone goes Miles Sanders, like why not take Wentz in these tight ends or even Deshaun Jackson and say, you know what, like maybe Miles Sanders has a great game, but doesn't punch those into the end zone and Wentz throws for 3 or 4, like, or runs one in. I don't know.
Because Alshon is doubtful again. And so is Jalen Reagor. Right. So you got Deshaun's the number 1.
Yeah.
So you got Deshaun's the number 1. I love a Wentz, Jackson, Wentz, Ertz stack, or a Goddard for Ertz, whatever. But that little triple stack there, I love it. It's a sneaky one for sure.
Yeah, and he's so cheap. Like, I know Wentz has had some issues, but what is he listed as?
He's at 5,800.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's right there. Like, I don't think you're definitely not overpaying for him. Like Justin Herbert's $100 more. Like, I get it, he had a good game, but. Come on, guy is going into his second start on the road. Like, just saying.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Throwing it out